so far I've cut myself some cord. I've got one piece that's 60 inches long and one that's 24 inches long, and I've just used hemp cord, and it comes in like a variety of colours, and it's about a millimetre thick. So you're going to want to take your shorter piece of cord and have it folded in half, as I have. Then at the folded end you just want to tie a little loop, and this is going to make a loop to close your bracelet. So you're going to want to measure this loop to make sure that it's the right size for whatever closing you're using. And today I'm going to use a bead, so I'll just use a little bead. So I can just pass this through and make sure the bead is actually going to fit through my loop. And then once that's done, you can grab a little safety pin and pop it through your loop, and then just pin it down to the surface, just so your bracelet stops moving around. Right. So once that's done, you want to grab your longer piece of string and find the middle, and then place this under your short string, keeping the middle by the middle of the short string, and then we're just going to tie this on to keep it in place. So we're going to begin by doing a square knot. So you want to take the piece on your left hand side and fold it over the two ones in the middle, then take the one on the right hand side, bring it over the one you've put on the left, under the two middle strings, and then through that first loop you've created, so bring it from the bottom up, and then pull your two ends together, and then just make sure you slide the knot up to the top, because that's where we want to begin the bracelet. And then pull quite nice and tightly. And now you're going to want to take the string on your right side and do the same again, but in the opposite direction. So lay it over the middle two strings, take the left hand string, place it over the right hand one, under the middle two, and then back through the loop, and then pull quite tightly again. So that's your first square knot done. You're going to want to do this about an inch or so into the bracelet, and then we can begin adding beads. So now I've braided about an inch. I'm going to start adding beads, and I've decided to use these little green glass beads. So they're quite small, and because the hole in them is so small, to make my life easier, I'm going to take the two outside ends and I'm going to apply a bit of clear nail polish to them, and this will help stop the cord from fraying. So just want to dab a bit of nail polish onto the ends, and with your finger you just want to twist it and like pull it into a point, and this will make it so much easier to put the beads on. Let it dry, and do the same on the other side. And that takes only a couple of minutes to dry. And while that's drying, you can start counting out how many beads you want. Around 12 to 15 on each side is a good number. So Again, to make life easier, you can put all the beads on in one go, then it stops you fiddling around while you're trying to braid. Right, so now I have my beads on. Today I've only put 8 on each side. So what you're going to want to do is slide one bead up to the top of your string on either side, and then you're going to want to do a square knot, and it's up to you how many you do. Today I'm going to do 2 full square knots in between each bead, but to achieve a bracelet like this one I just did 1 square knot in between each bead. So it's really up to you how you want to make your bracelet look. My beads are quite snugly placed onto the hemp cord, but if yours are a bit looser, you could just tie a loose knot in the end of your strings with the beads on, so that they don't fall off. Right, so that's half a knot. You want to put it quite nice and firmly. Right, over to the other side. I'm going to do one more full knot just so my beads are a bit more spaced out on this bracelet. Now I've completed my 2 square knots. I'm going to slide up the next 2 beads, and so now I've finished adding all my 8 beads. Let me just zoom in to show you. So this is what it's looking like now, and as you can see I've just done another 2 full square knots. So now I'm going to continue braiding about the same amount as I started off with to make the bracelet look nice and even. Right, I think that's about it now. But just to check, I'm just going to hold this up to my wrist and see if it meets. I think that's a good length for me. So what you're going to want to do is take these 2 outside bits, and you're going to want to tie them just in a normal knot behind the 2 middle strings. We're finished with those now. So tie it really nice and tight. Okay, and now it's time to add the bead. So I've chosen just a nice little green bead, and I'm just going to thread one of my middle pieces through the bead. So, just zoom in. So, thread it through the bead. Then you just again going to want to tie a normal knot with the 2 middle strands, just to secure that bead in place. And you want the knot to be slightly to one side, so the knot's kind of down here, and your bead has a bit of space. again, just a normal knot, tie it twice, nice and tight, and there you go, your bead is attached. So now what you're going to want to do is just grab a pair of scissors and trim these cords quite close to the knots. And to secure your knots in place, a good trick is just to apply a tiny little bit of super glue to each of the knots and it will hold it in place. Don't know if you can see I've done it with this one, and it just leaves a slightly darker mark, but it's not very noticeable at all. So you can just unpin your bracelet, and there you go, a lovely simple hemp bracelet with beads on the outside. And then hopefully, if you've measured it right, your bead should fit through your loop and tie it on just like that. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll see you soon for my next video.